Hello everyone and welcome back to Rogers Reports. Call me Rogers, and today, like every other day, I'm going to be your host with the most Aston Villa content on YouTube. Now, today we're going to be previewing the Tottenham game. It's going to be a huge one, and I think there's some advantages to playing it, there's some disadvantages as well, just the previous results against these guys. But we're going to be talking about it all, going through my starting lineup, how I think Spurs will line up. The importance of this game is, I mean, everyone knows the importance of this game, right? To the Premier League, to Champions League qualification. But before we get into all of that, I am somewhere on the screen, that side. That's how many subs we are. We are, as I record this video, 94 subscribers away from 3,500 Aston Villa legends on this channel. So leave a like down below, but more importantly, click that subscribe button, put notification bell on. You will never miss any Aston Villa content from this channel. And now that all the plugins out the way, let's have a look at the Premier League table and how these last two games are going to be absolutely mental. So there it is, the Premier League table. Aston Villa currently sit in 6th place on joint points with Chelsea. However, Chelsea have 12 better goal difference than us, so that goal difference is always going to come back to bite us, and it is. Nottingham Forest 1 place below us on 62 points, so only 1 point behind, so we need to keep them at bay as well if we want to get this Europa League spot, which is 6th. If we want to push a little bit higher up the table, we need to be looking at matching or bettering Chelsea or Manchester City's result today or tomorrow, whenever this video comes out. Newcastle 66 points, a goal difference of 23, so they're night and day above us. They do go and play Arsenal next, who are on a bit of a downwards trajectory as well. It's not out of the realms of possibility that we could finish above Arsenal either. Somehow they're only 5 points above us. They play Newcastle. I don't know who they play after Newcastle, but that's by the by. If they somehow slip up and lose both of those games, then that could be a story for the ages, finishing in above Arsenal with Emery in charge. You could imagine the Arsenal fan TV tears as we start injecting it into our veins, because that would be hilarious, and I would go and watch all of those videos on the big screen downstairs. And then we look a little bit further back down the field. Brentford and Brighton are, I think now, 8 points officially out of the race for top 7. So the top 7 is confirmed, right? But there's all the talk. Can Aston Villa get in to that 5th place? Now, our last 2 games are pretty helpful for us, purely because we're playing the 2 Europa League finalists, and we're also playing the 2 teams above the relegation zone. Tottenham currently sits 17th, as you can see. Their form is completely awful, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't look too much into that form, purely because they've given up in the league, and I don't blame them. They can't get relegated, but they can get Champions League football next season if they win this Europa League final, which I think is on the 21st, if my memory serves me correct, or something like that, 20th. So it's about 4 or 5 days after the game against Villa. They're not going to be risking any of their big hitters in this game at all. And the other benefit for us is that we are the first game of the weekend. Now, you could look at it as a bad thing, because perhaps if we were the last game of the weekend and Chelsea and Manchester City both lost their games somehow, which, to be fair, are against United, another team that are in the Europa League final that aren't going to be doing a lot in this game, you would imagine, against Chelsea, and Bournemouth, which is a very winnable game for Man City, but also a very losable one. They're a good team. They pushed Villa to our absolute limits a few days ago. Then perhaps you come in with this kind of like spurred enthusiasm for the game. But imagine if we played after Chelsea, City and Forest, and all 3 of those teams won. The pressure might be a bit too much, whereas now, because we play first, if we win this game, let's say we win, and my prediction will be at the end of the video, don't worry, but let's say that we win this game 2-0. Okay, so we're on a goal difference of 9 and a points total of 66. It puts us up momentarily to 4th in the league. Then Chelsea and Manchester City have to play, and Nottingham Forest to an extent, if they want to keep in the race for top 5, top 6. They know they've got to go into their games, and it's must win. Nothing else will do. There is the flip side of that. If Spurs beat us, then those teams, the pressure alleviates on especially Chelsea and Manchester City slightly. And they know if they get a win, that's us done. And we'll know that as well. If we don't win this game, top 5 is done. We could probably hope for 7th at best, to be fair, although Nottingham Forest do play Chelsea on the final day of the season, so one of those 2 guys have to drop points. But I think it's a benefit, to be fair, playing first. We go out, we play our game, we win. That's the crucial bit, we win. And then all of the pressure is on Chelsea and Manchester City because a win will put us up to 4th place before anyone else plays. And we can take that and run with it to the absolute moon if we wanted to. Now, the team we're playing, Spurs, like I say, we haven't had a fantastic record against them. We're going to get into that very, very soon. But Chelsea do play Manchester United at Stamford Bridge. When is that game? I think that game might be the other Friday game, isn't it? Yeah, so that's the Friday game. Slightly, they'll kick off when we're at half-time, I think, or just as we're coming towards the end of our game. So that's extra pressure for Chelsea. Obviously, Manchester United and Spurs needed the same amount of time to prepare. But when we ask for a day off so that we can go into the PSG game fresh, the Premier League says, hold on, let me just check my watch here. I've got my favourites saved. Yeah, Premier League top 6. Nope, says Spurs are in there and you aren't, Villa, so go swivel. Manchester City play Bournemouth. Now, that game is actually all the way next Tuesday, believe it or not. So that's a late one. And then Newcastle, like I say, playing Arsenal. I believe that is on Sunday. So, there's a chance that we could sit 5th in the table. Say Chelsea win as well, which I think they probably will. There's a chance we could be sitting 5th in the table right the way until Tuesday, and Manchester City will drop out all the way down to 6th place. Nottingham Forest, I believe, are another Sunday or Saturday game against West Ham as well. Again, a tricky game because West Ham, yeah, they're all the way down the bottom of the table, but they're not a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, some big games this weekend. But how have we done against Spurs? Let's have a little look-see. Now, the last meetings between the clubs aren't fantastic reading for Aston Villa. As you can see on the screen, we are currently, on the last 2 games alone, 8-1 down against Spurs. They beat us 4-0 at Villa Park. They beat us 4-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as well. Before that, we were actually on a decent little run of form. We beat them 2-1, 2-1 and 2-0. But those last couple of games, they have really just absolutely tanked us, to be quite frank with you. But their recent form isn't fantastic. A 4-2 loss to Wolves, 2-1 loss to Nottingham Forest, 5-1 loss to Liverpool, a draw with West Ham, 1-0, and then Crystal Palace went and absolutely battered them at their stadium a few days ago, winning 2-0. Whereas Villa, at Villa Park, we're on that massive unbeaten run. I think it's 17 unbeaten now. And like I say, Spurs really shouldn't be playing their first team by any stretch of the imagination. But what 11 players would I pick to go and do Spurs? Let's have a look. And here are my pick for my starting 11. Emi Martinez keeps his place in goal because of course he does. Who else are you putting in there? Robin Olsen, am I right? Ian Maatsen starts at left back for me. Lucadinho was absolutely fine against Bournemouth. I just want that extra bit of pace, especially with Rodgers. I'm playing on the left because of Jacob Ramsey's suspension. I like the link-up that Rodgers and Maatsen could have. They're both very good technical players on the ball. And Rodgers, again, not the quickest player in the world. He also drifts inside massively, rarely stays out on the wing the entire game. He'll drift into those number 10 or inside 10 pockets regularly. Maatsen is the man to exploit that space down the left-hand side, down the right-hand side of Spurs. I've gone for Mings getting another start, purely because if they start Solanke up top, he's a bit of a unit, and we all know that Pau Torres can't deal with players like that. And Mings has been alright for us. We haven't lost to him in a long time. Konsa, obviously, in there. Who else are going to be starting apart from Konsa? And then Matty Cash. Hey, hands up. I'm a Matty Cash hater and you got me. He's in my starting 11 purely because he played so well against Bournemouth, and I just don't see Emery doing anything else. So Cashy gets the nod for me in there. The 2 holding midfielders exactly the same as Bournemouth. We go again exactly the same. Kamara and Onana. Onana, my man of the match. Hands down man of the match for me. Against Bournemouth. And Kamara, we all know what Kamara can do, right? So he has to start for me. Now, Tielemans still out injured. Please come back, sir. We miss you, Yuri. So I've gone for McGinn in the 10 spot purely because Asensio's ghosted the last few games that he has played in. McGinn's a bit of a poo house, shall we say. He gets himself stuck in. He gets himself putting about in these games. Did get sent off against Spurs last time we played them, so hopefully that should spur him on. See what I did there? Pun intended. To have a good game against them this time. And I think that he could probably be a bit more effective in that hole than Asensio. Again, Spurs, they haven't been fantastic and retaining possession as well as they have done recently. But you still expect them to have a decent amount of the ball And I think off the ball, McGinn is a better player than Asensio. That's just my opinion. He works harder for the team. He puts himself about and he's better defensively as well. Rodgers moves out to the left-hand side to fill the void that the Jacob Ramsey red card has left in this Villa lineup. So he goes out to the left where I think he's more effective anyway, if I'm being quite frank with you. And then on the right-hand side, we have the man, the myth, the legend, because he might be a myth, because I haven't seen him in so long right now, and I want to see him again. And that is Donyell Malen. A bit of pace. Please, Villa, can we have a little bit of pace in our starting lineup? That's all I want. We've got nothing. Give me Matson and Marlon, the double M's. Give me M&M. Because they at least have a bit of pace, and at least they're a little bit direct when they want to be. Equally, I'll be happy if Leon Bailey started out on that side as well. The one thing I don't want to see is McGinn come into that left-hand channel, Rodgers stay on the right, and Asensio in the middle. I think it's just a little bit too slow, and we are really missing that pace of Rashford. Donyell Malen has that, and probably a little bit more. So let's get him in. Why not? Let's get him in. I'd back him to get a goal as well. Just remember that for later. And then up front, Ollie Watkins, our Premier League record goal scorer, because we have no other strikers apart from Malen, and he's starting on the right-hand side, so what do you expect? And he did get that goal against Bournemouth, and we know what he's like. He'll do awful for like 4 or 5 weeks, score one goal, and then he won't be able to stop scoring for a few weeks. So hopefully he can go and get a couple against Spurs. That's my 11. Again, a couple of changes that you could make. Powell comes in, Digne comes in, Garcia on the right-hand side, who knows? I don't think you're going to make any changes to those pivots. I don't think Barkley's ready to come back in just yet. You wouldn't throw Bogard in there, I don't think. The front three behind Watkins is interchangeable. That's just how I would like to see it. And then Watkins is a dead cert as well. How are Spurs lining up recently? Well, as you can see on the screen, they are pretty much resting 99% of their big hitters. And Ange's already made a joke in a press conference. And to be honest with you, I completely believe him, because it's what I would be doing. That they're going to wrap all their best players in bubble wrap before this Europa League final, and it makes complete sense. Like I say, they can't get relegated, they can't qualify for any type of European competition through the Premier League. You want all your big hitters fresh-legged and fit, because they can get into the Champions League if they win this final against Manchester United, which is a very winnable game for them. So they're starting at the moment with Kinski. This is the game against Palace. They lost 2-0. They got absolutely battered. I think they had 1 shot on target, and Palace had 10. Porro out on the right-hand side of the defence with Danzo and Davis in the middle. DJ Spence on the left. Archie Gray, Bentancur and Papis Sarr in the middle. And then Odobert, Kulusevski and Tell up front. That meant that on the bench, they did have Son, Basuma, Richarlison, Christian Romero, Solanke, Brendan Johnson and Mickey van der Ven. That's the type of players that they are putting on the bench, and I completely get it. I completely agree with the tactic, to be fair, and I agree with it because it should benefit Villa. That's a team we should be able to go out and beat. And there you have it. That is my Spurs preview, and it's a big one. It is a humongous one. We have a chance to put pressure on Manchester City for 4 days? Psychologically, 4 days. We will be above Manchester City if we get a win in this Spurs game. Chelsea will have to kick off whilst we're still winning, if we are winning at that point in the game. That's going to be huge, because that's going to put the pressure on them, and they're going to be playing United as well. United, there's always just something about playing United. You never know. I'm nervous for the last game of the season. I'm nervous for this Spurs game. But we have to go out. We have to win. We have to impose our game. It's at Villa Park, the last game at Villa Park of the season, and a crucial one in the swing for Champions League. I know Villa Park will be roaring. I know the lads haven't lost in Villa Park in about 66 years. Let's make it 66 and a half, or 67, or 68, or you thought I was going to say it, but I didn't. But anyway, my prediction for the game: we have to win, and I think we will. Look, Spurs are not going to be putting out anywhere near a full-strength team. They're not going to be overexerting their best players. They're probably not going to be overexerting anyone, because they know they have to get a win in that Europa League final to get Champions League qualification. For that reason, I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Aston Villa. A last imposing victory at Villa Park before we have to travel up north for the last game of the season. I'm going to go for Donyell Malen to get 1 goal and Ollie Watkins to get 2, because when he scores 1, the floodgates open. And please, rain on us, Ollie, because we need it.